Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Joanna. I love to DIY on a budget. Rustic and farmhouse is my thing, but I also do seasonal decor and some other things as well. I'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and stick around for a while. With all that being said, let's get crafty. So I got these little mini palettes from the Dollar Tree. I'm using dishwasher safe Mod Podge. I have my glue stick from the Dollar Tree, and this is a paper that I printed just from a regular printer. I just Googled black and white buffalo check and got the best quality print. Now I'm trying to lay these down to figure out which way they go, and I was going to glue them all at one time, and then I was like, nah, I better not. So I'm going to cut the paper in 4 pieces. Okay, now I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to put glue on the palette. I could have put glue on the paper, but I put glue on the palette. I like to do it on the object, that way when I'm cutting, I don't have sticky all over my knife, scissors, or whatever I cut it with. So I'm going to do this to all of the palettes. Here I remembered my squeegee laying over there, so I run it across my boards to press out any excess glue so there's no bubbles and it gets good adherence. Y'all, I'm sorry, I just realized I was dancing up a storm. I always have my radio on. Y'all gonna have to just overlook me. Sometimes I get calls and it looks like I'm talking to myself randomly and I'm not. And y'all are going to get good shots of me being real here, like my excessive necks, whatever. My big lips sticking out when I'm trying to concentrate, my nose, my hairline. You're going to get it all. It is what it is. And the reason being is because I switched camera angles. So I used to put the camera in front of me, and now I'm up against a wall and I can't move, so I can't get the camera in front of me. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get it over top of me or something, because this just isn't working for me. Okay, now I'm going to get my craft knife, whatever. And I'm using the one from the Dollar Tree, and I've seen a lot of people post this thing is scary. Actually, it's not a bad handle, and it's just the knives are not very sharp, but you know, I mean, it was okay. But the good thing about these is you can take those blades out and you can put in regular X-Acto knife blades and it works wonderful. So that's an option if you do get one, or you can just spend the money and buy a real X-Acto blade. But anyway, I just get them and try them. I wiped the glue off my knife because it's collecting up on there when I'm scraping across here. So anyways, I'm just going to cut it off of all, on the outside of all 4 of them. Okay, now I redone my blade. I put an X-Acto blade in there, and I put a pencil gripper on there so that I would have some grip so I wouldn't slide down the handle of the thing and cut my finger off. And this worked out like 10 times better. Now I'm going to try to go in between the slats because I want it to look like a pallet, not just a, you know, piece of wood sitting on a pallet. So I'm going in and I'm going to cut on each line, and I didn't even know which way would be better to do this, but it's better to do it from the top. And like I said, the more you do things, the more you learn. This is my first time. And so it's easier to just go from the top. And I am really trying to see. I said sorry because my big fat head is in there. But anyway, I'm going to try to fast forward some of this. Okay, so I got my big knife blade, and this thing did so much better. And all I did, this is probably one of my last ones, cut down each side so I knew where I was going. There I am again. Anyways, y'all please excuse me in this video. Whatever. You just drag your knife. Once you find out where the crack is, you just drag your knife down through there. Now I got a little emery board and I'm trying to sand some of it off, but that wasn't really necessary, okay? Y'all do not have to do this, because once you Mod Podge it and get your paper hard, it's so much easier to trim it then. But anyways, I'm just trying to open up my gaps in between there and figure out where they are. Okay, I'm done. Now I'm just going to get my finger sander, and I'm going to sand all the way around the edges to make the paper look like it was actually made onto the wood. You'll have to excuse me, I got tickled and started laughing. Okay, so I'm just going to go around all the edges with this sandpaper and smooth it into the wood and make it look like, it's actually part of the wood and not just sitting there. So now I'm going to put the Mod Podge on, and I love using this fluffy brush, and I'm going to just Mod Podge the tops to make them waterproof, so when you set a drink on it, it won't mess it up. And I do want to tell you that if you print your paper, you need to let it dry completely and lightly Mod Podge, because your prints will smear. It's not like using paper that you buy. I'm done, and I used 2 coats of Mod Podge. Now I'm going to make a crate for them to sit in. So I'm taking one of the Dollar Tree little crates, and I think this is the smallest one. Pretty sure it's the smallest crate. Take the sticker off the back, and then I'm going to paint it, but I'm not painting it black, and I don't want to paint it white, but I don't want it light gray. So I'm mixing black acrylic that I bought at Walmart and white acrylic to get a smoky dark gray. And that's what I'm going to paint the box in. And it only took 1 coat of paint. Okay, so speeding it up with the heat gun. I'm sure y'all did not want to see all that painting. Personally, I love it. I think it's very relaxing or therapeutic to watch someone paint and see all the things be filled in. But some are not like me, I'm sure, and that might not be a bad thing. But now I'm just going to paint the inside since I dried the outside, and I'm going to cut this so you don't have to see my head and me paint this thing. So I'm all painted, and now, of course, I'm going to take my chippy brush I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to distress it. You know I can't leave nothing alone normally, but anyways, I'm just going to take this chip brush, and I'm going to distress this box lightly, hopefully lightly, and see what it looks like. Got a little heavy-handed in there, so I'm just going to take a little bit of water and I'm going to smooth that out a little bit and kind of blend it in to where it's not so, you know, stark white sitting there. And I'm done. And I'm going to just set my little coasters in there. And that's it. Okay, so here I've got salt and pepper shakers from the Dollar Tree. I already opened them. I have a white and a Waverly wax in brown, and then I picked up my white wax, which I am going to use, but I'm going to trade out the Waverly wax. I thought I don't need two waxes, so I got black ink Waverly chalk paint. I have my butter dish, and I'm unwrapping it. It's from the Dollar Tree, E6000, and later I'm going to get super glue. But before I paint anything, I take this heavy grit sandpaper. And I love this finger sander. I got it at Walmart. They have it at Amazon too, but I just picked it up while I was at Walmart. And I'm sanding, roughly sanding around all the edges of this butter dish. Top, bottom, inside, and the salt and pepper shakers. Because they are slick surfaces, so I'm just roughing them up a little bit to make my paint stick better. Now I'm going to get a wet wipe and I'm going to wipe them all down, get all the dust off of every piece, and then I'm going to make sure I get it off my mat. Okay, now that everything's wiped off, I'm going to take my super glue and my E6000. I'm going to put E6000 around the outside of the top of the butter dish. This takes 24 hours to fully cure, but the super glue takes 10 seconds. So I'll have a immediate hold so that I can go ahead and work with my piece after it dries for just a little bit. So then I take and flip it over and I try to center it as best I can. And then I'm just going to set that to the side and let it dry. Okay, while that's drying, now I'm going to take my salt and pepper shakers and I'm going to take my Waverly White, and these have been sanded and wiped down, and I'm just going to go right at the neck, not around the rings of the salt and pepper shakers. We don't want any paint inside or close to the top because we're actually going to be using these. I have a set and they're on my table. They do have salt and pepper in them, and I love them. So, took 2 coats of white chalk paint. Okay, now this is dry enough where I can take my Waverly White and paint this inside, outside, top, bottom, everywhere. So that's what I'm gonna do. And it also takes 2 coats. Even though it's white, it takes 2 coats. So I got it painted on the first coat and just wanted to show you that I got this heat gun and I'm speeding up my drying, and I love this heat gun better than the other one because it's more powerful, it don't take as long, and I got it from Harbor Freight. I used a coupon and got it that way, but they go on sale quite often at real good prices, and they have super coupons. You just have to go online or download their app and watch their sales. So now I'm just going to paint it after I dried it with my second coat of Waverly white chalk paint. Okay, now with the help of the heat gun, they're all painted and dried. And I'm going to take my Waverly ink chalk paint, and I'm going to take my chip brush and I'm going to distress them. I want them to look more farmhouse and antique and used and rustic and, you know, yada yada. I like to start at the top and I start at the bottom because that's where I want the paint the darkest, and then I kind of fill in the middle as I go. And if you get them too dark, you can just dry brush back over it with white. Sometimes I have to paint things 2 or 3 times to get it to where I like it. But anyways, I'm going over it with the black right now, and I'm going over both salt shakers, and then I'm going to also distress the butter dish. Okay, I'm done distressing, but y'all, I'm such a miser that I get my paint left over, because there was quite a bit, and I get my pink tool and I shove it right back in my bottle because I couldn't bear to throw it away. Alright, so this new outfit, new night, I went to church and let this dry, and when I came back, I realized I didn't like how black that it looked. So I just went in with a distress brush and I added more white. I didn't paint it with a regular paintbrush. I just used a distress brush. That is so hard for me. Distressing brush. I got paint on my good shirt. I am so messy. So I grab a baby wipe from over there, and thank God, this came out of my shirt. So that was a win-win. And now here comes my crafty ingenuity. And I'm going to take my rag and stuff it in my shirt like a bib. Crafty people do strange things sometimes, whatever works, because I'm just a messy person. So I'm going to finish laying on my white with my distress brush, and I'm still going to let the black show through, and if it gets too white, then I'm going to distress it again with the black. It's that simple, y'all. Just paint is forgiving. You can add more, mess that up, add another color, it's great. This is one of those cases where I guess I wasn't satisfied. So I got the white out of my brush, and I just used a baby wipe and pounced it on a baby wipe and wiped it down. And then I'm going to try to darken it back around the edges just a little. I'm going to be putting a black sticker on these. So that's the reason why I didn't want them all so dark, because I wanted my sticker to show up. So I'm just adding black around the edges mainly, just to give it that pop of distressing. Okay, now I'm going to take these rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm taking the S and the P for salt and pepper. Your S will be a little bigger than your P, but it really doesn't matter. It adds character. I think it's cute. Besides, to me, salt is more important, so it needs to be emphasized more than the pepper. But anyway, you just take and rub these down with popsicle stick. Some people use their fingernails. Mine, I just don't like doing it. It makes me feel weird. And then, or the pink tool or whatever you can find to fit down in there. And you want to do the cracks first. Sorry, I am immature. So I'm really rubbing them cracks. You see I'm doing that? But anyway, the rest of it will pop up. But if you just use persistence and a lot of patience, you can get it down. If you don't have these rub-on transfers, you can use a Sharpie marker. You can use a sticker. You can use vinyl if you have a cutting machine. Whatever you want to put on them. Or you can leave them blank and just guess which one you have. That would be interesting. But anyways, I'm doing the same thing with the P. And I did use my fingernail, but it's like people scraping their hands down a chalkboard. It just makes me cringe. But anyways, I put those on there. And then I noticed that I don't know what I did that for. Not all of it came down. So it's an easy fix with a Sharpie marker. So you just take a Sharpie marker, a thin Sharpie marker, and just color in. Or got a little bitty paintbrush, and I'm just gonna touch paint is what I call it. And you just touch your brush to it like dots and fill it in. And you can't see because my fat head's in the way, and I apologize. But anyways, it's just because these bifocals, y'all, I can't see. I gotta get down on something when I'm reading or looking at it. So that's why my big head's in your way. But anyways, you get the idea, y'all. If you're crafty, you know how to paint. And I'm just doing the S2 and just filling out what was missing. Now I am using clear or white, whatever you want to call it, clear Waverly wax. And I got a soft brush, and I'm just applying a thin coat. Some people wipe it off. I leave it on for at least overnight or 24 hours. Then if it's still sticky, then I rub it off. I just buff it with a soft cloth. You want the wax on there so that when you're using it, it keeps your paint from chipping off. And it also makes it where you can lightly wipe them down if they get dirty. I wouldn't suggest like totally washing them, but a good wipe down every once in a while is good. And if they start feeling a little less waxy or whatever, you just apply another coat of wax, because it does come off over time, so you'll have to reapply it from time to time depending on if you really use them or not. Like I said, I use mine. It's not just for decoration. I do have salt and pepper in mine on my table, and we use them. So here they are, all done and dry and ready to be filled. And here is the coasters, and I just want to tell you thank you for watching. Once again, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. All of your likes and comments help my channel to grow, and I want you to know that I appreciate each and every one of you. So, until next time, God bless.